Welcome back, everybody, to the show. Today we'll be taking a deep dive into the world of AI-generated metadata. Now, I know that might sound a little technical, but stick with us.
Yeah, I promise it's more exciting than it sounds.
Definitely. In fact, metadata is something you interact with every day, probably without even realizing it.
Yeah.
It's essentially information about information.
Right.
Think of it like a library card catalog.
Perfect analogy.
It helps you find the book you're looking for by providing key details about the book, like the title, the author, the subject.
And just like a library card catalog helps you navigate a physical library, metadata helps us make sense of the vast amount of digital information we encounter every day.
Exactly.
From searching for something online to organizing files on our computer, metadata is working behind the scenes, making sure we can find what we need.
Now imagine if we could take this a step further and use AI to generate this metadata automatically.
That's what we're diving into today. AI-generated metadata and the potential it has to revolutionize how we learn, research, and interact with information.
Pretty exciting stuff. So to kick things off, let's take a look at slide 3.
Okay.
This slide highlights how AI can be used to analyze complex documents, like research papers, legal contracts, or news articles.
Mm-hmm.
And it can break these documents down into smaller, more manageable chunks, identifying key themes and summarizing the most important takeaways.
Yeah, it's like having a super intelligent research assistant that can sift through mountains of information and tell you exactly what you need to know.
Right. But it goes beyond just summarizing. AI-generated metadata can actually reveal hidden connections and patterns, things that might not be immediately obvious to us humans.
Absolutely. For example, let's say you're researching a specific disease. AI could analyze thousands of scientific papers on that disease and identify connections between different research areas, potentially leading to new breakthroughs in treatment or prevention.
Wow, that's amazing. And slide 5 really brings this to life visually. We're not talking about dry tables and charts here.
Right.
AI can represent these complex relationships in a way that's both engaging and intuitive using tools like interactive maps.
Yes.
Word clouds, and even 3D visualizations. It's like transforming raw data into a captivating story that unfolds before your eyes.
It's true. It really makes you appreciate the power of AI to not just process information, but also make it understandable.
Yeah, it's incredible. So we've talked about how AI can help us make sense of individual documents.
Right.
But what about understanding connections across multiple documents or even an entire body of knowledge? That's where things get really interesting.
Definitely. And that's what we'll be exploring next. To understand that, we need to talk about the difference between micrometadata and macrometadata.
Okay.
Slide 4 gives a good visual for this. Micrometadata you can think of as the details within a specific document,
Got it.
like highlighting keywords or phrases, adding annotations, or summarizing specific sections.
So it's like adding more detail to the existing information.
Exactly. Macrometadata, on the other hand, looks at the bigger picture.
Okay.
It's about understanding the relationships and connections across multiple documents.
I see.
Or even an entire body of knowledge.
So, for example, a podcast episode that summarizes a complex policy area, would that be macro metadata?
Yeah, that's a great example.
Okay.
Or a research brief that distills the key findings from hundreds of academic papers.
That makes sense. So micro is within a single document, and macro is about connections across many.
Exactly.
Now, this brings us to a pretty fascinating topic, the future of reading as listening.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Slide 6 explores how AI can actually transform dense text into engaging audio experiences.
It's incredible. Imagine being able to absorb complex information while you're commuting, exercising, or even just doing chores around the house.
Right. It's like having a personalized audio guide walking you through a complex topic.
Exactly. And for people with visual impairments or learning differences, audio can be a game changer for accessibility.
Absolutely. So we've seen how AI can help us understand individual documents and even make connections across a large body of work.
Right.
But how is this actually being used in the real world?
Well, one great example is Topic Lake Insights.
Okay.
Slide 7 shows this platform. It allows users to track federal rulemaking in real time.
So that's like keeping up with changes in laws and regulations.
Exactly. And it's a valuable tool for anyone who needs to stay informed about these changes, whether they are a researcher, a journalist, or just a concerned citizen.
It sounds like it. What's really impressive is how Topic Lake Insights takes such a huge amount of data,
Right.
from proposed rules to public comments, and turns it into something that's easy to understand.
It is, and it's really powerful. It's like having a bird's eye view of the whole policy landscape with the ability to zoom in on the specific areas that are relevant to you.
So it really puts the power of information in the hands of anyone who needs it.
It does, and that's what's so exciting about AI-generated metadata.
Right.
It's a tool that can democratize access to information
Right.
and empower people to participate more actively in things that affect their lives.
I like that. So as we wrap up our look at AI-generated metadata, I'm curious, what are some of the broader implications you see for this technology?
I think the potential applications are huge, from scientific discovery to education, even to things like personalized learning. It feels like there's no limit to what we can do with it.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. One thing that really strikes me is the way AI-generated metadata could break down those traditional silos of knowledge.
No, absolutely. By connecting things that seem completely unrelated, it could really change the way we think about problems and maybe even lead to some really innovative solutions.
Right. Like imagine researchers from different fields, medicine, climate science, economics, being able to easily access and understand each other's work. That could be a game changer for tackling those big, complex global challenges.
No doubt. It's almost like we're on the verge of a whole new era of knowledge discovery, where the lines between disciplines become blurred and new insights can come from anywhere.